brews, and banter.
We got Keith and Coop, right?
Yeah. Porch Beers USA.
Porch Beers USA. And introduce us how you guys know each other and how the whole thing Porch Beers USA started. Give us a little background.
All right. Well, I'm Coop, and the other guy is Keith. We
just met yesterday.
Yep. So we've been friends for 24 hours, and we've hit 1,100 and some odd breweries in the last 24 hours. It's been a fantastic run. We're looking to see how far we can take this. Keith and I met, 15, 17 years ago, somewhere around there. Our wives grew up together and were best friends. And we all know when your wife has a best friend that's, married, you are forced to become best friends with their spouse. And fortunately, at least for me, I don't know about Keith, I was very open to the idea. We became quick friends and started traveling and taking beer trips about 12 years ago. And then during COVID, we kind of formed what is now Porch Beers. So we started out with 4 goals when we got started. Number one, we wanted to have fun. We checked that box every fucking time we leave the house. The second one was we wanted to get recognized when we walked into a brewery. You know what I mean? Like walk into some random brewery we'd never been to them before and them go, "Hey, you're the Porch Beers guys. We saw you on whatever podcast or we saw you on whatever." We always thought that would be cool. We wanted to do a collab beer with somebody, but we wanted to make sure that was bigger than just us and benefited some other nonprofit. And then last and certainly not least, this is the only box that we haven't checked yet, is we wanted to turn this into a revenue stream. And at some point be able to go to our high school reunions. And when somebody asks us what we do for a living, we say, "I drink beer for a living," because that would just be fucking cool. So that's us in a nutshell.
This is like looking in a mirror. Like that's our checklist. and the only thing we could check off also is number 1, right?
Yeah.
But it's all the same shit. We want to do a collab. We want to monetize. We want to.
Yeah, we're not making any money.
People recognize us. And they say, "There's those fucking idiots."
Yeah.
You're a little bit ahead of us then, so you're good. That's perfect.
What are you guys drinking right now? Keith, we'll start with you.
Yeah. All right. I'm drinking a Kolsch from Crooked Pecker Brewing.
Did you make that, Roman? Roman brewed that.
Why would you know that?
They're in Ohio, very, very small town just east of Cleveland. I've been there twice. Great mom and pop brewery and probably the best fucking beer name I've ever heard. So
yeah,
that's funny.
Perfect.
What about you, Coop?
I'm doing an Angry Alice. It's a hazy triple IPA from down in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I was just down there a couple months back and I picked this up. It's from Armor Brewing Company. It comes in at 10%. Oh, yeah. It's a super solid beer. I stopped ordering my own beers probably about 2 years ago. And I just walk into a brewery and if the bartender is game, I rule out, I don't drink Hefeweizens and Keith does, but I'll rule out a Hefeweizen. I'll rule out a wheat beer and then tell them, you pick whatever off of the menu, whatever you think that I should drink in your brewery. And so they poured me this from their tap list. And I was like, holy shit. I walked straight over the cooler after the first sip, grabbed a 4-pack, brought it back, set it on the bar. And I was like, I will take a 4-pack of that to go because that's just delicious.
Nice.
And that's what they're going to do. When you tell them to pick, you're getting the fucking highest alcohol beer they got.
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. Yeah, no, sometimes they pick some crazy shit. And other times they give me a Pilsner or a blonde or something that's super, super mellow. And I'm like, you guys really could have swung a little bit harder at this softball that I just laid up to you. Like I like to drink whatever. So it's really funny that happened because before we got on, I was outside on my porch with Keith, and I said, "Can you hear the cars going by?" And he said, "Nope, it's almost like a whisper." And I was like, "Perfect. I'm going to sit on the front porch." And then Numbnuts drives by in his fucking lifted no exhaust truck in the middle of this. So anyway, so sometimes they give us really super easy drinking beers, and I tell them, look, my criteria is I drink cold beer. So if I haven't ruled it out, I will drink a full pour of whatever you give me. So it's been a fun little experiment for the last 2 years of doing this whole thing.
How was your experience in like trying sours? We didn't get into sours until we started this podcast. And we just kind of open to this stuff, and we want to try it and give our opinion and see what our taste buds are like.
And really, the ones we don't like, the only beers we don't like, or we prefer not to drink, are lactose.
Yeah, like heavy on lactose. What are your
Other than that, we drink it all. Yeah.
experience have been with like sours and stuff?
So I like Keith go first on this one. He drinks a little bit more than I do. Sours, I think.
Actually, we're the opposite. We prefer the lactose smoothie type of sours.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the thick ones that are almost like juice. The ones that are really tart, aren't my thing. But they're not our go-to beers. But if we hear like some really cool or some crazy flavors, we love to try them. So.
Yeah, we had a bad experience with some really thick lactose ones, and I think it's the only beer during the recording of a podcast where we're like, we need to stop and just get rid of this beer now.
It was chunky. It was like, we called Yoda's breast milk.
Yeah.
Because it was like Star Wars themed beer.
Yeah.
It was fucking disgusting. You had to chew it.
Yeah, you had to chew it.
Oh.
That one might have gone bad, fellas. I'm not sure that was what they were aiming for when they brewed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was tough to get through. But other than that, most of the beers we either loved it or were just good enough. You know,
the fruited sours. We like the fruited sours.
And we had our first sour IPA. Is it this year?
It was summer of last year.
Oh, okay, and then that was first. Like the sour IPAs I've never heard of, never tried, and we both were surprised. Mm-hmm. And that was by a local brewery here. It's called Frequentum. And is that a seasonal?
It was their first time they did it. I don't know what they're going to do with it. They had a series. It was this was strawberry natural fruit, and they have a mango, I think, and an orange. So,
yeah, you guys said what you're drinking. We're drinking. We recently had a guest on here from Trip Hammer Brewery out in Rochester area, and this is a little Dreamer.
It's Dreamer.
Belgian style white ale and spices, and this is about.
This is half of Coop's beer.
This is 5%. we can do this.
We'll just have two of them to Coop's one.
Well, I figured if I was going to start with one, I was going to start with something that was really cool and really different, and it's an awesome beer. It's the last one I have in the fridge, so I'm killing a memory tonight, but it is what it is.
Hey,
so,
or you might not kill it, but create one of the best memories.
cheers to that.
Or a memory you won't remember.
No, I'm not going to have that many. If I ever get to the point where one beer causes me not to remember, Keith and I have not traveled for a very long time.
You're going to have more than one beer, though, right?
Oh yeah, when this one's gone, I'm going to run in and grab another one. I already have my second one picked out, so I can just run into the fridge and grab it and come right back out.
We interviewed a brewery locally here, and we bought. Is it 20%?
20% barley wine.
20% barley wine.
Yeah.
Ooh. Drink 3 of those and call me in the morning.
Yeah. Well,
holy shit.
We had their other barley wines. It wasn't that high, so we did drink 3 or 4 of them on here, but it was the other ones I think were like
14.
Yeah.
17, I think.
Yeah, it was good, but
yeah,
those are tough mornings. Those beers.
So guys, so you guys started this. Porch Beer USA. How do you guys meet? Like, what's the process when you guys go out? Like,
how do you plan?
Yeah. Like, tell us more about. So we kind of know the background, how you guys started through friendship, your wives, but the whole Porch Beer USA took off from like what idea you guys had, where did the name come from, and what is like your process every time you guys get together?
Drinking. That's where it started.
There's no Porch Beer USA without beer.
Right. It started with a beer on the porch, and it's blown up into this. I'm gonna let Keith take this one because he's our resident planner. So I'm gonna let Keith take this one.
Okay.
The Porch Beers got started. After taking a handful of trips, we decided to start social media for this, and then Coop was the first one to start like posting beers on his porch, and he would just he would call them porch beers,
mm-hmm.
and then I started doing social media for beers, and mine was called Delaware 302 something. I can't remember, it was so long ago, and then one day I just floated it past him. I was like, hey, why don't we just, like, since we're always traveling together and we're drinking together, why don't we just do one social media together? And he's like, okay, cool. And I just I kept the Porch Beers part, and then because we travel everywhere, I just added the USA on the end.
Uh-huh.
And then for the logo, it was rocking chair for the porch, a beer glass for beer, and then the stars were the USA part. And I just put them all together.
Nice.
The name and the idea to do it actually was pretty much birthed on our first one-way flight. So we've taken 3 one-way flights. We've flown to Denver, Colorado from Philadelphia and drove home. We've flown to Dallas, Texas and drove home. We've flown to Phoenix, Arizona and drove home, all on, well, the Phoenix trip was a little bit longer, but Dallas and Denver were both 3 or 4 day weekends where we just had a holiday weekend and we fucking just went for it. The Denver trip was when we really kind of birthed the idea for Porch Beers while we were driving across the country. And we found a one-way ticket to Denver for $20 during COVID. And Keith was like, you want to go? And I was like, for $20, does Dolly Parton sleep on her back? Fuck yeah, I want to go. Like, I'm not passing that up. Let's roll. And so we were driving back, and I'm sitting in the passenger seat, and I'm posting, and he's sitting in the passenger seat, and he's posting, and we're like, this is kind of stupid. We should just do this together. We're drinking together. We're traveling together. We're both posting about the same shit. We might as well fucking do it together. And that, yeah, that's kind of when it was born. Was 2020 was when we really started it while we were driving home from fucking Denver.
Mm-hmm.
You guys keep track of like how many breweries you have hit, or is it like a some kind of a plan? Like, we're gonna hit this many breweries in so many years, and
we keep a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet of the ones that we've been to, and then I keep my maps up, on Google, and I pin future breweries that we want to hit, and then as far as planning trips, it's all it's a list of cities that we've always wanted to go to, or a certain state is recommended to us by a beer friend, or it's just like our next one. I think we're thinking about San Diego and driving home. Probably early next year, and then we've always thought about flying to Alaska and driving home. so I don't know how that'll work.
So this sounds like a theme. You do one-way ticket and then you drive home.
Yep.
Those are the most fun that we've had. And look, Keith's being incredibly modest about all the work that he puts into this, right? So I'm going to toot his horn for a second because like just this past weekend, we went to the Maryland Beer Festival down in Frederick, and Keith had the route planned out. He had the festival tickets bought. He had the hotel set up. He had the Ubers taken care of. He had 4 breweries after the festival. We went back. We crashed. We woke up the next morning. He had 3 breweries planned on the way home. So we hit when he says he plans this shit out, like we leave town with X number of breweries to hit. And sometimes we hit the whole list. I don't think we do normally. I think usually we have to cut off a couple because, I mean, you've got to be safe when you're driving. Yeah. And if we're moving from town to town, it's not so bad because you'll have one beer and something to eat, and then you'll drive for an hour, and then you have one beer and something to eat, or one beer and a water, and then you drive for an hour. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not that crazy. But when we're in a town, like if we're staying overnight or something, we use Uber and get around safely and do all that good stuff. But the amount of legwork and the amount of thought and everything that Keith puts into all this is, if I had to do it, I'd just sit here and drink like local Big Oyster Brewing Company beer, Dogfish Head or something like that. I wouldn't even leave Delaware because the amount of work that he puts into it. And we're at, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Keith, we're 1,110 or 1,111 or something like that.
1111.
1,111 breweries that we've been to. And I know for a fact I can count on one hand the breweries that I've been like, yeah, let's please never come back to this one. And I think that number is less than 3 if I really thought hard about it. So in 1,111, he's come up with 1,109 fucking kick-ass smoking breweries that have just been fun and great beer and a great time and a great story that goes along with most of them. So don't let him just be like, oh yeah, I Google it and then we go. That's fucking bullshit. He puts a lot more fucking work into it than that.
And this is 45 states?
46.
46. Yep.
And so you guys were in New York. You guys were in Ithaca at some point.
Yeah, that was our first trip 12 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
That was number 1.
We're like 2 hours away from there. So thanks for that, fuckers.
Well, we didn't know you weren't doing this 12 years ago. You can't get mad at us.
We weren't even doing it 2.5 years ago. But we were still living here.
Well, so you apparently weren't at the brewery when we were there because we were acting stupid and doing something crazy. Toting around that Great Dane I was telling you about is what we were doing.
Yeah.
I see. So let's talk about Oyster Brewery. You guys, you've sent the beer, and there's a really nice...
The naval collab, right?
Yeah, nice military background to that. Is that something like a fundraiser or something that was like towards a charity, or give us a little more background on how you guys collaborated with them, and how that came together?
So I'll take this one. So a couple of years ago, I ended up on a fishing trip with the head brewer of Big Oyster Brewing Company, and we're out fishing for tuna and having a great time, and we're slinging beers and trying to catch fish. And I told him what we were doing and said that we wanted to do a collab beer. And we came back and he texted me like a week later. He's like, hey, bud, we're going to start brewing on Tuesday. And I was like, no, we're not. Actually, we got to slow down because when we go back to our first goals, like Keith and I wanted this to benefit somebody bigger than us. Like it's fucking cool as shit to grab a beer out of the fridge and see your Beer Blog's logo on it and drink it or hand it to a friend or whatever. But we wanted to do something that benefited somebody other than us. So Keith served 25 in the military at all, but I do some volunteer work with the American Legion. I run a youth program for them, and I'm a founding board member of the USS Delaware Submarine Association. So about a year and a half after that fishing trip, I was at a board meeting, and my board at the USS Delaware the Submarine Association wanted to do a beer for the crew. And I raised my hand. I said, I've got this covered. All I got to do is send one text message and we're ready to roll. And they were like, are you serious? And I was like, yep, all ready to go. I'm good. So I reached back out to Big Oyster. The crew named the beer. My wife and I wrote the message that's on the side of the can. The Big Oyster Brewing Company's marketing team, their art team, I sent them the ship's crest, the name, and the paragraph, and our logo, and a QR code for the Submarine Association. They knocked it out of the park. So Keith and I took 180 cases in the back of a U-Haul from Dover and Newark, Delaware, all the way up to Groton, Connecticut, and slung cases to the crew after they returned home from their first combat deployment. So it was super special for us. And then the subs out right now at deployment, they left just after Christmas. So they should be home. I'm guessing all their movements are classified, so I don't know when, but I have a general idea. And we're working with Big Oyster to do another Liberty Risk this year for them. Again, the crew doesn't know about it this time around, so I'm hoping they don't have YouTube while they're floating around under the ocean, because then they'd see this and I'd get busted. But there's another beer in the process for them. And when we were up there the last time delivering it, the Cobb, the second in command of the boat, came over to me and said, "Coop, I need you to set aside 25 cases." And so I set aside 25 cases, and about 5 minutes later, this young kid sticks his head around the end of the U-Haul trailer, and I was like, "Dude, take a case if you want it." I mean, I'm not carding anybody. You know what I mean? Like, you signed a blank check when you agreed to serve in the Navy. If you want a case of beer, take it, from my perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked at me and he said, "I can't, I'm not 21. He hung his head and he walked away. And I was blown away by this kid's integrity to not take a case or two of beer and just to walk away. And I looked at Keith and I said, "We fucked up, bro. We didn't include everybody in this process. We fucked up. We didn't even think about people being under 21. The Cobb came back a few minutes later and he said, "Coop, you have those 25 cases?" And I said, "I do." And we're throwing them in the back of his truck. And he said, "These are for the guys that are on duty, and the guys that are getting ready to turn 21, I'm going to keep their case in my garage until their 21st birthday." His leadership, that kid's integrity, I was 100% sold on what we did and the way it all turned out. So this year, we're partnering with Big Oyster to do another version of Liberty Risk. It's going to be a different beer. It's going to be another IPA, but it's not going to be the same. And we're also partnering with Heavy Seas Brewing Company out of Baltimore, Maryland. And they're going to put a less Liberty Risk label on their root beer. And we're going to take every sailor that is either under 21 or doesn't drink for whatever reason. They're going to get a case of root beer. So we are going to 100% touch every single sailor, make sure everybody's covered. And between us and the USS Delaware Submarine Association, we'll raise all the money and then some to pay for all the beer, so it doesn't cost any of those sailors a single penny.
Perfect. That's great.
That's very honorable. Thank you, guys.
And thanks for doing that. Yeah. Yeah.
Dude,
That's not easy to do.
It is. When I say it's our pleasure, it is like the joy that when I tell that story about that kid walking away, and I literally, if you're sitting next to me, I get goosebumps every time I tell it. It's beyond my pleasure. I think it's beyond Keith's too. But that was a special, special time for us, and to be able to do it again, and for Big Oyster to sign on to do it a second time without even a moment's hesitation. Kudos to them and the Submarine Association for all they're doing to help us raise the money to get this done. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, big thanks to Oyster Brewing as well, and we really enjoyed the beer. It was delicious.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
To see your guys' collaboration with them and have it on our podcast, it was an honor. And earlier you were saying, I believe Keith served in the military, but there was a disconnect a little bit. Keith, what branch of military did you serve in?
I did 25 years in the Air Force.
Air Force?
Okay.
Yep.
My son loves airplanes. He knows so much about military airplanes. Syracuse Airport had this nonprofit organization, and they had these old classic like planes that they used back in the days to train. And any ride you buy, the money goes towards some kind of nonprofit military organization to, charity. So we bought my son a flight in like an old training fighter jet, and he had a fucking blast. It was a surprise. He couldn't believe it. He's like, "Are you serious?" He was just blown away. And it's funny, a 13-year-old kid's favorite airplane is F-14. And I just love his enthusiasm with military, Air Force. He loves history. He studies World War One, World War Two, just by choice. It's not a subject in school or anything like that.
Unfortunately,
He just, he loves it, and I'm glad that he has this passion. And I try to reinforce it. But thanks for your service as well.
Thank you.
Keith. And
thank you for Coop.
yeah.
Well, thanks for your tax dollar.
You're welcome. We incorporated this podcast so that every time we buy beer for this, we get to write it off.
No funding for you, Keith. They're writing it all off, so there's no funding for you.
Yeah, but then you look at the books, it's just like a total loss. Everything we do is a fucking total loss.
Our personal taxes pay for it, Keith, but our podcast is in the negative.
But like it's the same with you guys. It started off as fun, and it's just what we do, and
we want to support more local military people who have served. I've been in the construction business, and I'm trying to go around and reach out to local as a VFA and see if they need any kind of help with facility maintenance and see how it can help. And that's something I want to start this year, and just kind of, token of appreciation and give back.
Well, so two things I'll say to that. One, I'm like I said, I work with the American Legion here in Delaware, and our local post is getting ready to do a renovation, so they're looking for trades and subcontractors to work with them and hopefully give some sort of a discounted price. So I would certainly reach out to your local VFW and American Legion and so on about stuff like that. Yeah. But another organization that does fantastic things for veterans is Habitat for Humanity. They do what's called a veterans build, where they build different affiliates do it. And if your local one's doing it, they do houses that are specifically for veterans, which is a great way to give back. And Habitat for Humanity is an amazing organization. I could talk to you for 2 or 3 hours about how much I love Habitat. So certainly reach out to not only your local veterans organizations, but your local Habitat as well. It would be a great avenue for you to do that.
I didn't know that, but yeah, we do have Habitat for Humanity locally here. Yeah. I'll reach out to them and see how we can help, because oftentimes we'll do a project and we have either leftover material that can be used, and it's sad how much waste at the construction sites are being thrown away, and it's hard for me to see that. I always try to save it, like there's going to be a better cause for it. But maybe that collaboration with Habitat for Humanity could be helpful to any access material that can be maybe donated,
Yeah, so I work in the construction industry as well. I work for Hovnanian Homes. And your description of the amount of waste in the construction world is spot on, man. There's so much stuff that just ends up in a dumpster, and it's got minor damage, or you've just got too much of it. You don't have a place to store it, and you can't return it for whatever reason, or it's a 7-foot 10-inch board instead of an 8-foot board, and where it's got 3 nails in it because they were using it for bracing or whatever. It just ends up in a dumpster somewhere, and it's nauseating some days.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's crazy to me that the clients just want nothing to do with it. It's cheaper for them to just get rid of it than going through an effort of returning and dealing with all that stuff. I'm almost like borderline hoarder. Like I'm running out of places to store stuff, and it costs money to store it.
Borderline horror.
And for wood.
Are you hoarding or whoring? What are you doing? I'm a little confused.
A little bit of both. I got to pay for it somehow.
He's whoring for wood.
Well, I will say KHOV does a really good job of returning anything that we can to try and keep stuff out of dumpsters. But like little scratched up cabinets or something that's got minor damage, I'll snag that stuff and leave it in a garage, and then take it to Habitat. So they send you a new one, and it just ends up in a dumpster. It's just so it, like you're saying, hoard it and get it to where it needs to go. I love it.
Yeah, some of these companies don't even want their product back. That they just like, we'll send you new. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? I had a client order a bunch of glass shower doors, and they were all wrong sizes, and they're like, whatever.
Oh, they don't want to pay the
They're
freight.
like, get rid of it. We don't want it back. Just we'll send you new ones. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with all this stuff? It's situations like this, just so wrong to just throw it away.
Then you build a new shower around the size of those doors.
Well, I'm definitely going to reach out to Habitat for Humanity and see how we can work with them to help out for veterans, for sure.
Absolutely.
My brother served 10 years with the Marine Corps, and much respect. And I have friends been in the Army and Army Airborne and different branches, Navy, friends with Air Force. I just have respect for them. I tell my son this during World War II or Vietnam War, how many people would just shame servicemen and women, and they didn't get that kind of support they're getting today, or recognition. So I just want to thank people that today support them, because they need it. It's sad. Like we have what we have in our lives is because of their sacrifices. So we need to be thoughtful of that.
100% agree.
We have a few other collab things in the works later this year as well. We're gonna partner up with a local military organization called BNC for us, and we're gonna partner with another local brewery, and they help out with the military organization helps out with getting veterans like clothes and housing and food and just any, the benefits, anything they need. So and we've talked with them, we've had beers with them, and great people, and we have a local brewery that would they said whatever you need, we'll help you get beers out, to raise money. So we got that going, and then in September we're partnering up with the Beer Babes, which I know you guys know.
Yeah,
we're really good friends. We're really good friends with them, and we've been to a couple of their releases, and we're partnering up with them, and we got them to come to Delaware in September, and we're all going to Big Oyster, to raise some money for them.
Someone's pacemaker's gonna blow up.
Phone ringing.
What?
Huh?
I heard a chime.
My wife opened the door and let the dog out, so I might have to yell at her.
Oh, it's okay.
So
I mean, not my wife. No, I would never yell at my wife. That's not what I meant. That came out way fucking wrong.
You're gonna yell at the dog for your wife,
right?
And the dog,
right? I might have to yell at the dog because if she tries to go down the steps, I don't want her to play in traffic.
So going back to Beer Babes family. Sorry, Keith. So yeah, we've had some interaction with them, but what'd you say that collaboration was going to be, or a partnership?
We're helping the Beer Babes come down to Delaware because they've never been. So that was a challenge for us. And we'd love to show all you ladies Delaware. And we reached out to Big Oyster, since we're really good friends, and we had and we hooked them up with Beer Babes, and they all agreed, and we're going to help them do a release down into Big Oyster in September.
Yeah, perfect.
So,
Nice.
Yeah.
Are you guys gonna post those dates on social media?
Yes.
Excellent. You guys are not far from us. I'm hoping Frank and I can make a trip out there one of these days. Just make like a weekend out of it or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but we're not fucking buying a plane ticket and driving back.
No, we'll just drive there and back.
We've driven to a lot of places too. Like it's not always a plane ticket.
Yeah. Unless the plane ticket is $20.
Right.
Well, so there's been 2 times that Keith's called me about plane tickets, and he's been like, "Hey, there's a flight to here. Do you want to go? It's this much money." And both times I've said, "Buy the fucking ticket, and I'll check my calendar later," because I don't want anybody to realize they made a mistake.
Yeah.
Flight to Denver, I think was $25 or something stupid, $25, $30. It was cheap. And then he called me. My stepmom lives down in Fort Myers, Florida. So we've got a place to stay. We've got a car we can use. We've got everything all taken care of. And he calls me. He's like, "Hey, bud, I found a round trip ticket for a 4-day weekend to Fort Myers, Florida for $25. Are you available?
Round trip.
Are you fucking kidding me? Yes, I don't care if I'm available or not. Buy the fucking ticket, and I'll find out later before they realize that they're idiots selling me a ticket for $25. Yes, we're going. Yeah, fuck that.
You buy it, and if Coop can't go, you just get another friend going. Right.
Right, exactly.
Or you're scalping for fucking 400.
Keith,
Exactly.
can we exchange phone numbers later? Like I like to hire you as my travel planner.
I mean, Roman has that shirt. I forget what the front says, but it says $20 is $20, right?
No, it was January. No, it was January of 2021. What can I say? They were just begging people to fly.
Yeah.
And we're like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, COVID was no fun for anybody, but Keith and I most certainly made the best of it and did. You couldn't work. You were working remotely. It was just trips were cheap, hotels were fucking pennies, and we were like, "Yep, we're going."
Yeah,
and off we went. So
yeah, it seems like during COVID there were people who struggled and people who just, took what they can with that time and made the best of it. And there's a lot of ideas and creativities and inventions came out of COVID.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, bad things came from that as well. But
Right.
it is what it is. I think everybody just did their best to survive. And but you guys started when 2019, you said, or 2020?
2020 was when we officially started.
And you
Right.
hit already
I'm not wrong when I say that, right?
over 1,100 breweries.
2020 was the first beer trip, fly there, drive back. But we started our craft beer journey in 2012.
Yeah, so we started doing all the craft beer stuff long before we started posting on Porch Beers, before Porch Beers USA was ever invented. So we've hit 1,111 breweries, but that's been over 12 years. And in some years, I think our high watermark, one year we hit 260 some odd breweries or something stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't it, Keith? 260 something.
Yep.
Usually I think we hit 150 or so is kind of the average. But we didn't start Porch Beers until 2020, but we started that trip to Ithaca. Was Keith broke his ankle 12 years ago and he couldn't work. And I was like, well, I can get us a cabin. And so we went up and partied for 7 days.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Ithaca's nice. It's it's a nice place to be. It's
It's gorgeous.
Very nature-y. Yeah, it's gorgeous. Right. But it's yeah. So you get it?
Yeah. You guys are married? You guys both married
to each other?
Yeah, among other things. Yeah.
It's very. Just want to say thanks to your wives being supportive of your guys' hobby.
You take them with you, probably, right?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Like we probably couldn't do this podcast if our wives weren't like okay with it, because I can easily see my wife is like, well, there's shit you should be done around the house. I need help with the kid, dogs. You know what I mean? So I think thanks to them taking care of some of the stuff that we can also do what we do. You guys can travel. I don't know if you have any kids.
My wife does a lot of this.
She's
well, we don't have kids, so that makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
And then half the time the wives are like, fuck it, just go have fun and we'll stay home.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they're like, no, we'll go with you, and we all party and have a great time. So it's a win-win.
That works out.
Yeah, because your cat, you can leave that thing alone for like a month and it's going to be fucking fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, leave the toilet lit up and the fucking thing's going to lick itself and lucky cat.
Yeah, it gets a little expensive for us when we have to organize a dog sitter for 3 dogs.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
dog sitters get expensive. That's for sure.
Yeah, but so what part of Delaware are you guys in?
I'm in the northern.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm in the northern part, around the Wilmington area.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
and then he's in Dover in the central part.
Each other when we're both at home, which is not very often. But yeah, we're about 45 minutes apart.
Okay. I have some family in Delaware and Jersey area. Where's Cherry Hill? Is that Jersey?
Cherry Hill's New Jersey.
Yeah. So somebody in Cherry Hill and then Delaware. I don't remember the area, but it's about 40-minute drive in between them. So I think about once a year we go out that way. So maybe we can plan something.
Yeah, or for sure. We'll I mean, have beer, we'll travel, right? I mean,
Post when Beer Babes come out there, we'd like to meet them. We were trying to organize something.
well, not
here.
that you guys aren't important, but the Beer Babes are also important.
It'll be nice to meet everybody at once. It's
Yeah, we agree.
yeah, it's difficult to schedule time. We were talking to local brewers here to see if they can do some kind of collab with Beer Babes. I don't know if they're gonna still pursue.
It didn't work out. Yeah, we talked to them. It's something I don't know. So I don't know how that arrangement works, and maybe you guys don't either. I mean, you kind of hook them up with the brewery, and then they figure out what's ever happening. For this particular brewer we talked to, it didn't work. So,
Well, Roxy, we introduced her to the brewery, and we get the brewery a heads up on what they're about and what to expect, and we just did a big Zoom call like this, and we all talked about what beer, and she talked about what's expected of them and what they'll provide, and everybody said yes, and we just got to figure out what beer to do.
Yeah. Yeah, we're still going to try. I mean, so how many breweries are in Delaware? You know that number?
22, I think.
Oh, so yeah.
Is it 22 or 24? We just lost a couple.
Yeah,
I think it's like 32, I think.
What is it?
32.
32? God, I drink a lot. I don't even know if I can count that high.
we're close to like 550 here in New York. So we in Syracuse, there's a lot more that we can talk to. We've only approached them in person, but we're still going to try to help just like you guys do. I mean, they have a good cause as well, and we support that.
Yeah, we try to every year they announce a winner for the money that they raised, like a brewery. We try to announce who it is. We've only been doing this just over 2 years, so as long as we try to keep up with it. And Roxy is very nice,
and she's funny. She's pretty fucking funny.
She's funny.
And you got to remember, like the profit margin on beer is not always the highest. So when you're asking, depending on the size of the brewery and what their financial status is, they may want to help and want to give back, but they might not always be able to and still keep the lights on. So
that's correct.
I used to do fundraising for my local habitat here in Delaware, and I learned really quick when I took that job that everybody is asking every local business and every local everything for everything, right? All the little leagues, all the habitats, all the Beer Babes, all the Porch beers, all the fucking everybody. They're hitting up everybody all the time, and they unfortunately just can't say yes to everybody. So don't take that one no as a they're not pissing in your Cheerios. They just couldn't that month or whatever. So keep building the relationship and keep going back and keep asking other people, and you'll get there. Yeah. It's doable.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not. Yeah, we totally understand where they're coming from, and what you said is 100% true. And not everybody's able to do it, especially so many people approach them probably for all sorts of things, right? It's like a go-to for nonprofits. And there was never bad blood or anything like that.
Yeah, no, we understand it. And, I mean, we're
still friends.
We're all business owners. We get it. And honestly, across the country, the alcohol industry is suffering, so it's not, I mean, unless you're Treehouse or something like that, and just opening shit fucking time you blink your eye, but there's a lot of people opening or these closes or
Did you say Treehouse because I'm wearing the shirt?
No, I said you're a fuckhead because you're wearing the shirt. No, I actually like Treehouse. The ordering, that's fucked up. The whole ordering system, how you got to get a beer, that's fucking weird to me. Have you guys been there, right? You get
Keith has, I haven't.
you get a ticket and you're fucking alive. I mean, I'm like you're rationing off like it's a fucking fuel shortage. I mean, I don't know. I get irritated. I don't know. We got more beer right here in this little fucking beer fridge than we could get at their place. It's fucking weird, you know.
That's true.
Well, actually, they changed the rules not too long ago. Because I think the rule was always 3 beer max, per person. And now during the week, there's no max. It's just on the weekends now.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's really nice of them because no one fucking drinks during the week. I mean, all you got to get fucking jobs to pay for your beer on the week. You know? I'm not upset at him. I'm just irritated with the whole process. Like, I don't want to go, buy a meal and like you're only able to get, 1 fry and not 5. I mean, what the fuck?
You just don't like it because it's very unusual and you're not used to.
No, because I can drink a lot of fucking beer and I don't want to sit there and get a partial chubby. I want to be full chubby.
You're talking about beer or strip club?
I want blue.
What are you talking about?
I want blue steel, not like half mush.
We've been doing this podcast for 2 years. I sometimes don't know what he's talking about, but it's okay.
Often.
When you guys collaborate with the brewery, do you also help out with brewing process?
We have, yeah.
Yeah.
And you help out with like sales and marketing as well?
Not so much sales and marketing. We collabed with Lost Elephant Brewing Company out of Elmer, New Jersey, and we got to help with the brewing process, and they released the beer at a beer festival, and we got to help pour it, which was a lot of fun. With Big Oyster, neither one of us were available on brew day, so we didn't get to go down for that. They did invite us down for it, but we just weren't available. Mm-hmm. And then their marketing team and their sales team does all of that. The only thing that we had anything to do with that beer was helping the USS Delaware Submarine Association raise money to pay for all the beer to take up to the crew.
Yep. Keith, since you're the organized guy, 1,100 over 1,100 breweries is a pretty big number. I mean, United States has about over 9,000 breweries, I think. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So you guys hit what, 10%, more than 10%. You keep like a journal or something, some kind of information per brewery that you guys have your own opinions.
So you got a spreadsheet.
Well, he's got a spreadsheet, but is there some kind of a like a blog per brewery, for example? Because that's interesting information to get, from someone who sees, goes through so many brewers.
Well, for now we got we just use Instagram and Facebook, mm-hmm. To post the breweries, and then I use we use pictures, to put on there and to remind us what beer we had, or what the brewery looked like, and then we're still working on our website, and once the website's up, we'll start posting like our top 10 of this date, or what we thought about this trip, and post our funny stories on there, and people will get more of a sense of what our trips are all about, and all that. So
mm-hmm. I think the amount of breweries you guys have hit and all sorts of beers you guys have drank, and the whole experience of traveling to a brewery, having their beer, traveling back, fly there, drive back. It'll be nice to kind of document that. It'll be a fun thing to read about. To like, if I was like a local news station, I'd like to interview you guys. Because it's almost like outside of trying all these beers, it's its own kind of story. Its own different experience outside of just delicious beers that you guys have and travel. I don't know. Just think about on working on something like that in the future. If you guys release something, I'll be definitely interested.
How cool is that though? So you've done this 12 years about with 1,100 breweries. So there's 9,000 breweries. that's like you're gonna die before you can hit them all. But how perfect would it be if you could hit them all, right?
Oh no, hey, and and what's crazy is just when we think that we're crazy and we do all these breweries. We have a handful of beer friends that have been to more breweries than us.
Yeah, right. Right.
Like we have a really good friend of ours that I think he's coming up on 1,600, 1,700, and then there's another guy that we follow on Instagram, and he's over 2,000. So, just when you think that you're doing really well, there's always somebody else.
What's the 2,000 number? Over how much time did he hit 2,000 breweries?
Oh, I don't know the time, but he lives in New York, so
we have
he's called Brew York on Instagram.
I don't know that I've ever heard of that guy.
We'll have to look it up. There is a husband and wife that
they hang out with him. New Jersey Beer Partners.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They travel and they hit certain number of breweries every year. We ran into them at one of the local events here, and I was like, Frank, I think these are the guys from Instagram. We follow them, and then I wanted to confirm to make sure. I like, holy shit, that is them. We took pictures with them, and
super great people, really. Yeah.
Very nice. His wife was saying that her husband sets this goal every year, like to hit certain number of breweries, and even though, like you said, you think you've done so many, but there's someone who's done more. It's so few of you guys that publicly known, right? Like whoever is on social media. I'm sure there are people maybe just do this for themselves and they enjoy it, they have fun with it. But to meet a handful of you guys who have done so many breweries, it's interesting to hear those stories. Road trips are fun. My son and I drove from New York to Utah and back, and we had an amazing time. Those memories and experiences I'm going to cherish for the rest of my life. And I can't imagine when you guys make those one-way trips and then drive back, there's a lot of fun shit going on and experiences and
probably a lot of fucking
gas,
a lot of farts
outside of just having beer, right? You see crazy shit on the road. You think funny things, and those are like fun stories for me. Maybe I'm just being a little sentimental about like being a kid and growing up, and my grandpa was telling stories and things like that. But I feel like your guys' situation is so cool and unique that share it. Like if you can.
So when we flew to Dallas and drove home, we took my nephew with us. My wife and I took legal guardianship of my nephew when he was 6 years old. And he's turning 19 later this month. So Dallas was 4 years ago now, I think, somewhere around there. So he's 15 years old, and we're driving home from Dallas. Well, the whole airport was a whole story unto itself, because it was during COVID and they ran out of fucking rental cars, and there's a fucking 300-foot line or 300-yard line to try and get a rental car. And that was a debacle in its own right. But we're driving home, and we stopped at this place I think it was in Baton Rouge, wasn't it, when they ran out of water?
Oh,
right? I think so.
Which is weird because the city's built underwater.
Yeah, where was it?
New Orleans was that one.
New Orleans. So we stop at this fucking hotel. We pull up, and it's got enough scaffolding around the hotel that, like, I don't even know how they were still allowing guests to stay there. Completely under renovations, right? So the next morning we wake up, and Alex comes out of the bathroom, and he goes, Uncle Coop? I said, what's up, bud? He said, the shower just ran out of water. I said, do you mean it ran out of hot water? And he goes, nope, it ran out of fucking water. And of course he was 15. He was still scared to cuss around me at the time, which I kind of wish he still was now. But anyway, so he said, no, it ran out of water. And I was like, all right, I don't think I believe you. I've never heard of a hotel running out of water ever in my entire fucking life. So I go into the bathroom and I turn the water on, and sure as shit, nothing came out but air. Well, I was next in line to get a shower before we hit the road that morning, and I decided, well, fuck it, I'm just going to go downstairs and smoke a cigarette and see what's going on. And I shit you not, I watched the plumber come running out of the building at a full sprint to his van. He grabbed a framing hammer, not a pipe wrench, not a fucking torch, nothing else. He grabbed a framing hammer and ran back into the fucking building. I lit a second cigarette and said, fuck it, I'm not taking a shower today. I might as well just smoke another cigarette, because there's no fucking way that this dude's fixing a plumbing leak with a goddamn framing hammer. It's just not going to happen. There's no way. Well, sure as shit, he fixed it. And like 10 minutes later, we had black water coming out of the pipe, and then it ran to clean. I got to take a shower. But you're absolutely right. That memory, Alex got thrown out of a brewery in Baton Rouge. We realized that we were driving with expired tags while we were in Alabama. We got into a horn honking contest in a tunnel somewhere down south. I don't even remember where the fuck that was. That trip, the number of stories and craziness that happened on that one-way trip is just epic. We had so much fun.
That's what I'm talking about. Keep track of that. Write those things down, because those things could be fun to release as episodes, as a journal on your new website, or I'm looking.
We're gonna write a book one day.
Or like substitute Alex's name and put in Keith.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I would
ran out of goddamn water.
I would be outside waiting for that plumber, just out of curiosity. How the fuck did you fix that plumbing with framing hammer?
I don't want to know, because it came out to begin with, you were connected to sewer.
Well, any water line that gets disturbed is going to come out black first before it clears out.
Yeah. No, that made sense. I get it. That didn't bother me. Yeah, I just couldn't believe that when he ran out and grabbed a hammer and ran back into the building with the hammer, like not just jogging, not walking fast, not walking briskly. No, he was at a full fucking sprint. Like, I don't know what was going on in the basement of this hotel, but he's sprinting back with a fucking hammer. And then 5 minutes later, we have water again. I was like, dude, I've been in the construction industry for, 10 or 12 years now. I've never seen a I've never seen a plumber touch a framing hammer in my 12 years, except for that one day. So I have no idea to this day what the fuck he was doing, but it was funny as shit. I went back upstairs and Keith was like, you saw him do what? And I was like, yep, that's what I said. I don't know, but we got water, so I'm going to take a shower. I don't know.
We were in New Orleans last year. It was our 50th episode we did, right?
Something like that.
We were so fucked that we're so tired. It didn't even make sense. I don't know what the fuck we were doing. But New Orleans is great to live in. And
well, it was my first time on Newberry Street. You've been there before.
On Bourbon Street.
Bourbon Street, sorry.
What street did you say? Newberry? The fuck is a Newberry?
I don't think Newberry's in New Orleans.
That's Boston.
Oh, God, man. Jesus.
No more beer for Roman. He's flagged.
Man.
Roman's flagged.
We were in Bourbon Street.
The other Bourbon Street.
We're gonna cancel this podcast and we're gonna start a new one called we're gonna call it the Lettuce and Wiener podcast. So it'd be like Frank and Romaine. You'd be like Romaine Lettuce.
I have to share this. So we've gone through a bunch of bars on
Bourbon Street.
Bourbon Street. Thank you. And then at the very end, before we ordered Uber, we're like, let's get some pizza. I'm fucking starving. All right, we got pizza. Then we're standing outside of the pizza shop, and then
it's a pizza room. It's like a really tiny bedroom that serves pizza.
There's like 4 seats in there. So we're standing outside now eating pizza, and this guy walks up to Frank. The guy speaks in Spanish, and Frank speaks in English, and they're carrying a conversation, and I'm laughing my ass off. And all I see is at the end, he goes, yeah, him and I are going to go to the hotel and fucking... And the smile on this dude's face.
He was so happy.
I was like,
we were going to get lucky.
I was like, what the fuck?
Whatever.
That conversation was just it
was like 10 or 15 minutes. He just kept going with me. Like,
it shows how simple guys are. Like, you don't need to speak the same language. Just fucking enjoy beers together.
As long as you speak with a smile, you can get across whatever you want to.
Yeah.
You can tell somebody they're a fucking asshole if you do it with their smile on your face. They're like, oh, thank you.
And then follow it up with a bless your heart.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Bless your heart, you fucking asshole. And it goes right over. They're like, oh, thank you. Yeah, perfect. I'm sure they do it to me in other languages too. I'm not immune to it. I'm just,
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Same.
If you guys mentioned some events coming up like September with Beer Babes, is there anything new coming up you want to announce? I just want to I don't want to forget to mention anything before we end.
The Beer Babes, September 13th at Big Oyster Brewing.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the only other thing is the Liberty Risk, but we don't have a date for that. But Liberty Risk or Big Oyster Brewing Company and Heavy Seas are partnering with us for the crew of the USS Delaware. So those are the two big things we got going on right now.
And Coop, you said you volunteer for a nonprofit. What's the name of it again?
Yeah, so I run Boys State. I'm the assistant director for Delaware Boys State, which is an American Legion program. It's a youth leadership and government program. It's for rising seniors in high school, and they run basically a mock government for Sunday through Friday, so 6 days, 5.5 days.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fun every year. 17 years now I've been doing it.
Wow, thank you. Anything else, guys? I just want to make sure
I have something. Hang on. I don't want to think I'm rude. I'm searching something here. So I just want to get another.
Look, my criminal record is nothing that you need to talk about on this podcast today. I don't care what you're searching for.
Well, I came across your prison name. Something about five knuckle shuffle.
No, we got we got a couple more funny stories. Probably going back to what Coop was talking about, getting our rental car in Dallas and the shit show with that. Yeah, we landed in Dallas, and it was during COVID, and so I had reserved a minivan from I think budget no Thrifty, same company really.
Yes.
So at Dallas, it's not at the terminal. It's you have to jump on a bus and they take you to a different building, and the place is huge. It's got all the rental car places. We walk in. Thrifty is at the other end that they dropped us off at. We're walking. All the other rental car companies are like almost empty. We get down at the end where Thrifty is, and the line was like, I don't know, like 300 feet long. like it went on for. It seemed like it went on for days. And we're like, holy shit! I don't know when we're going to get our rental car. So we get in line, and we're sitting there, and the line's like barely moving. We start talking to people around us. The guy in front of us said that he's been there since yesterday. Oh. So that's not a comforting feeling. So, and people are getting upset. People are, starting to cuss, and, finally, after like an hour of standing there, there was like four of us, or three of us, and we divide and conquer mode. Yeah. So Coop stayed in line. Me and another friend, went and started calling other rental car companies, like off airport, just trying to find something. And then finally the manager comes out. She starts talking to the people online, like, "Hey, I'm so sorry. We've been having bad storms this week," which we didn't know if they were true, but she's like, "Bad storms, cars are damaged. We've had barely any cars, but when they come in, we're giving them out." I'm like, okay. And so the line is moving slowly but surely, and it gets almost to, like after a couple hours, the line gets almost to the front. Coop calls me to come back inside because it's under my name. So I get in line, and then we get up to the counter, and we just happened at, the manager was the person we were dealing with. And I thought I would take the route of sympathy. And I was like, hey, I'm so sorry. People are like practically almost spitting on you and cussing you out, for something you don't have control of. And she's like, "Yeah, thank you, blah, blah, blah." And she's like, you guys reserved a minivan?" I'm like, "Yep." And she's like, "Okay, just go over there and wait, and we'll get you as soon as we can." Okay. So we waited, and then Coop went outside. My other friend was, somewhere else. And after like 10 or 15 minutes, some dude comes out and he calls my name. He's like, "Hey, your minivan's ready." I was like, holy shit.
Yeah. It worked.
Yeah. I was like, "Hey, can you give me a second? I need to grab my friend." And he's like, "Dude, if you don't take these keys right now and go out to your car, there's going to be a lynch mob.
Yeah.
I was like, point taken. And I got the keys, and I had people coming up to me, and he's like, dude, how long did you wait? I'm like, see ya.
Yeah, don't answer that question. Right. That's like your wife. Does this dress make me look fat? You don't fucking.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't see ya. I'm like, okay, I'll just call them. So I ran out. There was like one minivan out there, and we all ran to it, jumped in, and took off.
Perfect.
That Dallas trip was a crazy trip, man. We had so much fun on that ride home. So many memories, so many stories.
Tell them the Baton Rouge one. That's the best one.
You guys got time for one more?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
All right. So we pull into Baton Rouge. I don't remember the name of the brewery, and I don't know that I'd tell you what the name of the brewery was, even if I remembered it, because it's not the most flattering story. So we roll up, and mind you, I mean, you guys have been to a handful of craft breweries around the world, right? Like, there's not many of them that are not kid friendly and or dog friendly, right? Like, they're all kid friendly and dog friendly, right? So we've got my nephew with us, and Alex and I are standing in line, and my nephew likes to try and drink craft sodas from all over. Any brewery that makes a craft soda, he wants to try it. Any brewery that makes a craft beer, Keith and I want to try it. It's a mutual hobby that we have, right? So we roll up to this brewery, and Alex is in line with me. We get up to the front of the line, and the guy cards Alex. At which point I just start laughing because he's 15 and he doesn't have a fucking ID, and I don't know what you're carding him for. And the guy proceeds, like, what do you mean you want his ID? And he goes, well, you have to be 21 to be inside the brewery. And I was like, that's weird. What's going on with that? And he said it's something to do with their liquor license that they had, so that they could have guest taps from other breweries. They had to have a special liquor license that was, I mean, essentially a tap room, right? Like, so you had to be 21 to be inside. I was like, all right, that's cool. I said, Alex, what kind of soda do you want? He said, I'll take a Coke. I said, cool, go sit outside. He can sit at the picnic table, right? Guy says, yeah, he can sit at the picnic table. So Alex rolls outside and says, he sits down. I order the beer for me, beer for Keith, beer for Dan. I think Dan was with us, and a soda for Alex. Guy brings it back, sets it all in front of me. He goes, by the way, since you're his legal guardian, you can legally order him a beer and he can drink it at the picnic table outside. Right. You're tracking what I'm laying down here. Right. So at this point, I've got this like ridiculously dumbfounded look on my face. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? He couldn't stand here to order a Coke, but he can drink a beer on your property outside.
Yeah.
I said, well, look, I can't wait to buy the kid a beer when he's 18 or 19 years old. Because little somber moment, my dad passed away when I was 18. I never got to have a true beer with him after I became of age. And so I want to make sure that Alex gets to do that with me. But so I said, I can't wait to do that when he's 18 or 19 years old, but I'm not buying this 15-year-old kid a fucking beer here today. So he'll just take his Coke. We go outside. 45 minutes later, maybe a half hour, whatever it was, we're all done our beer. Alex has done his soda. And he's like, Uncle Coop, I got to pee. And I was like, all right, that's cool. There's a bathroom inside. Go take a leak. Okay. Because I've never seen any place where, like, the intent of that law in the state of Louisiana has got to be that underage people are not hanging out there. But if the kid's allowed to be outside, he should be allowed to go inside and use the bathroom, right? That would make sense, right?
Yeah.
So he gets about halfway across the brewery on his way to the bathroom, and the beer tender stops and was like, hey, bud, you're not allowed to be in here. And he's like, but I have to go pee. And he's like, there's a porta potty at the end of the parking lot. He's like, I checked it. It's got a padlock on it. And he goes, well, then you can walk across the 4-lane highway to go to the bathroom at the Dollar General.
Come on.
So Alex comes back out. At this point, he's practically dancing next to the picnic table, which kind of makes me giggle a little bit. And he tells me the story. And I said, bud, did you whip out your wee-wee and piss on his taproom floor? And he goes, nope. I said, well, I probably would have given you a high five if you had, but since you didn't, we'll go around to the side of the building. You can piss all over the side of his building, and then we're leaving, because that's bullshit that you wouldn't let my kid take a leak. Like, I get it. Alex was not allowed inside. I get that. But the intent of the law from the legislators and from the Alcohol Beverage Commission was not to keep that kid from using the bathroom. The intent of the law was to keep him from hanging out inside Otherwise, he wouldn't be pistol over the side of the building. And we hopped in the minivan and drove home because that was bullshit.
That's when you big daddy that brewery.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he totally pissed all over the side of the building.
But
Yeah,
there's the irony. Like, you know how many underage people are drinking during Mardi Gras, and you know how many fucking people piss in the street? I mean, like,
yeah, and I mean, look, we've been to a lot of, 46 states, right? We've been to a lot of different bars, a lot of different places. And the alcohol laws, as you travel around this country, we're trying to keep track of them. It's like, that's a fucking nightmare. Like, we were at Dalton Brewing Company in Dalton, Georgia. I took Alex down we went to have dinner with the past national commander of the American Legion, and they were doing a dinner to honor him. And we went down for the night. And we rolled into Dalton Brewing Company, and Alex is standing 3 feet behind the bar behind my seat, hanging out with everyone. We're included in the conversation and everything, but he was, I don't know, 13, 14 years old at the time. So he knew, because of Delaware law, that he wasn't allowed to sit at the bar, but he was standing away from the bar, still part of the conversation, still like everybody was, turned so that we were all in a big circle. And the owner of the brewing company came up and tapped Alex on the shoulder and said, "What are you doing, bud?" And he said, "Well, I'm hanging out with my uncle and all these guys, and I know I'm not allowed to sit at the bar." He's like, "The hell with that, belly up." And he walked around the bar and said, "What are you drinking?" And Alex said, "I'll have a root beer." And he did like the fucking Cheers beer slide and slid him a root beer across the bar. And Alex got to sit at the bar and have a root beer. Nothing, like, perfectly legal in Georgia, or at least I hope it is, since I'm telling the story. But Alex got to belly up to the bar and have a root beer and feel like one of the guys. Yeah. Minnesota, he can sit at the bar as long as he's with an adult. Fucking Delaware, he's got to be 3 feet from the bar, which I get it. I understand the intent. But apparently in Baton Rouge, he can legally drink, but he can't use the bathroom, which I think is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life.
He can legally drink. He can't legally piss.
Right. Yeah.
You can't consume it, but you can piss it out.
So now your book is the Porch Beers Chronicles.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Dude, the number of stories that we've got, it's like, we could go on for hours, guys. They're fun. They're insightful. They're entertaining. They're real life. Like, but when that dude told him to walk across a 4-lane highway to go to Dollar General, I was like, that's fucking ignorant. Like, come on, man.
That's when you piss on the building.
No,
exactly. Yeah.
Slap a deuce right on the wall, like a rhino with your tail. No, a hippo. It's a hippo. They ship.
Fortunately, he didn't have to drop a stink pickle, so we were good there. He just got to, just kind of hose down the side of the building a little bit. But yeah, it's been a wild ride for the last 12 years. And I don't know about Keith, but I am looking forward to another 12 or 20 more. Like, we're having a blast. So
I love the stories. I love what you guys do. I love all the charities and causes you guys raise money for. And I like the idea of how can we do something that benefits others. So that's very noble.
And we hope you'd come back on whenever you want. Maybe we can talk about more of these stories.
Definitely take pride in that and continue doing what you're doing. Keep track of those stories. Write them down. We'd love to hear more. And I hope one day we can meet in person, have a beer together, and hear more of those stories.
So that's what I was looking at when I was on my phone.
Yeah. You
guys are only 5.5 hours from us. So
okay.
1 month from now, we're hosting an event you guys are more than welcome to come to.
Yeah.
And it's the dates, man. If we're free, we are both gigantic fans of Ithaca. And all the breweries up there. Thank you guys so much for having us on, and for letting us be a part of what you're doing. And we would love to come back. We'd love to come up to Ithaca. We'd love to get together for sure. Cheers.
So we're a little farther. We're in Syracuse. So that's 2 hours. Is it north? What is that?
About an hour and a half, an hour.
Are we north?
Minutes. We are east of Ithaca.
Yeah, east. Like I said, east
northeast of Ithaca.
Northeast. What the fuck? You guys, you don't even know what fucking Bourbon Street's called, man.
At least I know where we are geographically.
Look, do you guys figure out where the fuck you live? Send us an address. We'll put it in GPS and we'll drive up and have a beer. That's how we do this.
All right, sounds good, buddies.
Same way. Thank you so much for both of you guys.
Yeah, cheers.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Bye.
Take it easy, Keith.